Hi, I'm Mehran Sahami, a professor here at Stanford. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about why you should be a section leader for Code in Place. I'll also tell you some stories about why I love to teach. But really, being a section leader for Code in Place will empower you to be a better teacher and a better programmer. You'll work with a small group cohort of students every week while you'll teach them the joy and power of programming and at the same time hone your own programming skills. It's a wonderful time. So what made me pursue a career in CS education? Part of the reason I wanted to be a teacher is because I had fantastic teachers when I was growing up, both in elementary school, middle school, high school. There were just educators throughout my life that really helped guide the path of my life, that really made a difference. My whole family is involved in education in some way. And so for me to be able to continue to pursue that field, especially in computer science, an area that I love, combined with education, an endeavor that I think is really important, was just basically magic for me. And so the opportunity to be able to do this, to actually teach computer science education, I think is the best job in the world. How has teaching computer science impacted the way you do computer science? I'd say one of the biggest things you get from teaching is understanding something better yourself. In order to be able to teach a subject to someone else, to really explain it, to answer their questions, you need to push your own depth of understanding. And you also find out the things that you actually don't know. And then you go learn about those things, and it gives you a richer picture. It gives you a more complete knowledge of the thing that you're trying to teach. And so the way it's impacted the way I do computer science is it's actually made me a better computer scientist to be a teacher, because it's pushed me to learn more, to have a deeper understanding, and then to be able to collaborate better with other people to use that understanding to help push the field forward. How have the skills you've developed in computer science affected other areas of your life? Well, I'd say the biggest thing about computer science and understanding programming is you understand problem solving. And problem solving isn't just something that happens on computers. It's something that happens in our world in general. And so when you think about tackling big problems, you think about, how do I break this problem down into smaller pieces that are more manageable so I don't get overwhelmed? How do I get help on pieces of the problem that I might not have expertise in, but I could call a friend, or I could bring people together to help address that problem? Those are real life skills. Even though they're driven by ideas in computer science, they actually make you a better problem solver in life in general. What does it mean for an engineer to give back to the CS community? And how does teaching fit into that? Well, one of the things that's important when you think about the power that you get from understanding computer science, the opportunities that provides to build things, employment opportunities, to really make an impact in the world, it's incumbent on us as part of the CS community to help make more people aware of those power tools in the world. And teaching fits right into that. It's a way to be able to show other people the power and magic of programming, the kinds of things they can build, the kinds of problems they can solve, and being able to think about addressing things that matter not just to other people but to them, that they have the power to be able to build those kinds of applications and tools themselves to address the problems that they think are important, not just what other people think are important. And so that notion of giving back, really that notion of empowering others, is a critical part of taking our skills in computer science and making them available to the broader community. What are some memorable anecdotes from your time as a teacher? So one of the really memorable anecdotes I have from when I was teaching, and I first started out, so I was still pretty inexperienced, was I had a student come by the office and he knocked sheepishly on the door and said, "Mehran, do you have some time?" I asked all my students to use my first name when we're talking. And I said, "Sure, come on in." And he comes in the room, this is around the time of graduation, with his parents. And he says, "Mehran, these are my parents. I want you to meet them because I actually talk to them all the time about your teaching." And I thought that was kind of interesting. And he says, "You made me want to be a teacher myself." And part of that is explaining to my parents what I see in your teaching that I want to replicate for my students. And that's always stayed with me. And it was just an amazing experience that that student actually wanted to introduce me to their parents. And I loved meeting them. Do you think more programmers should take time to teach at some points in their careers? Why? I absolutely think that programmers will do a great service to others and themselves by taking the time to teach and share their skills with other people, to show other people how to code, how to be able to solve problems in a broader sense, and to be able to think like a programmer, to be able to think systematically and tackle problems that way. It's something that will make a programmer better themselves when they have to explain concepts to others, because it forces them to understand those concepts even more deeply, and in some sense to be able to simplify and purify those concepts in their own thinking, which makes it even more powerful to apply. And it certainly helps the people that they're teaching be able to learn these skills and then apply these skills in various ways in their life to empower them to be able to do more. What's your message to someone hesitant to volunteer because they don't see themselves as a teacher? What if they're worried they're not experienced enough? Some people worry about the fact that they're teaching others and they think, am I really a teacher? Is this something I can do? Well, the truth is, everyone's a teacher. We teach all the time. We just don't necessarily label it as teaching or thinking about it that way. But think about when you talk to your friends and family, when you want to show them about some new idea or show them some new neat thing. Really, you're being a teacher there. And so all being a teacher is being able to convey information to someone else, to explain it, to understand where they're coming from. If you haven't had experience with teaching before, you don't need to worry, because you've actually been teaching for a large part of your life and you'll be just fine. So if you're thinking about whether or not you should sign up for the Code in Place experience as a teacher, you should absolutely do it, because you'll learn a lot and the students that you teach will be grateful for it. If a past volunteer were convincing a friend to sign up, what do you think they would say about how the experience changed them? One of the things about Code in Place is that we've run it several times now, and a piece of feedback we get over and over is how much the teachers in that class enjoyed the experience, how much they thought that teaching others was so joyful. It was something they didn't actually imagine would be that much fun until they actually did it. The experience of being able to teach others, the satisfaction and joy they got from seeing other people learn, and the fact that they themselves had to go revisit certain topics and learn them even better themselves. So many people said that the experience was positive and that they do it again. And so if you're wondering whether or not you should do it, I would say absolutely go for it. You'll enjoy it. How do you balance the technical and ethical dimensions of teaching computer science, especially at the intersection with AI tools? Understanding the ethics of applying AI in different contexts is extremely important, because we need to understand how these AI tools, which are very powerful, affect people's lives. They do things by affecting, for example, things like employment, what jobs might actually go away or how certain jobs are going to change. They change the sorts of opportunities that are available for people. By understanding something about technology and AI, it suddenly opens up more possibilities for the kinds of problems you can tackle or the kinds of jobs you might go after. And it's important to ultimately understand, when we engage in this endeavor of computer science, when we use AI tools, what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve a better world. We're trying to solve problems. We're trying to create a more just society. And so when you think about the ethical implications of using these tools, that has to go hand in hand with understanding the power of the technology, because that's the only way that we make this technology work for everyone. How has the nature of education and pedagogy changed as a result of the advent of LLMs? What do you see as the most impactful skills aspiring educators can pick up, and how has their role shifted, if at all? I think one of the things that's very important for an educator is understanding where your students are at. And so when we think about tools like large language models that might help, say, in someone generating code or generating the solution for a particular problem, as an educator, one of the things we need to be aware of is how much understanding does the student actually have about the output that's generated from those tools? How can they be critical of the output that's generated if there might be errors or information that's not accurate? And how is the student really doing overall, which isn't something that changes as a result of the advent of large language models. It's something that's just about being a good educator, is understanding your students, meeting them at their level, and helping them move to the next level. So I think there's lots of ways that LLMs are impacting education, but I think that our most critical roles as educators remains the same, and that's to support our students in whatever way we can. What's a moment in your teaching career that reaffirmed your belief in the power of education? I would say every day reaffirms my belief in the power of education. I think education is one of the great equalizers in our society. It's one of the things that gives people skills to be able to move ahead, to advance, to be able to provide for their families. And so So I think of education as an amazing opportunity we have to help other people and in a sense be helped ourselves, because helping others makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you feel better about the community that you're a part of. And all of that is driven by the ability to teach, the ability to educate others. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing and I wouldn't give it up for anything. So make sure you sign up for Code in Place. The website is codeinplace.stanford.edu. Hope to see you there.